This is a U.S.-China media brief produced by the UCLA Asian American Studies Center. The U.S.-China media brief features interviews with experts and other prominent individuals involved in studying and documenting the dynamic and ever-evolving relationship between the United States of America and the People's Republic of China. I'm Russell Leong, Director of the U.S.-China Media Brief of the UCLA Asian American Studies Center. Our purpose is to provide a more balanced view of U.S.-China relations for the U.S. media through our media brief and website. Now, what can the U.S. media do to improve its, reporting of, say, U.S.-China relations? How do you think that we can help the U.S. media journalists to improve their?
I remember that 10 years ago, American ambassador to Nepal, Madame Ambassador Julia Chang, organized a workshop at Beijing University, and at the workshop, the CNN former correspondent, I don't remember her name, and invited me and her to and three other American journalists had a debate about whether the media or journalists have an obligation to strengthen ties between people, between different people, to strengthen friendship between China and U.S. The CNN woman reporter didn't agree. She said that the American journalists don't have the obligation to make friendship between people because American journalists are only here to report the truth, and I don't agree with her, and I think the journalists should have a social responsibility, and we should not only focus on the hate between people, but also focus the love between people. Not only the hate, if our story make people hate each other, there will be endless war in the world. And people like Chinese, if there is some problem there was a breaking event between Chinese and American. Maybe a Chinese was assassinated in the U.S. or an American citizen was assassinated in China. If we sensationalize this and we just focus on this constant day and night, then the American people would hate Chinese people would hate American. So, and I told her that we should have a balanced, and we should, the truthful world is not all dark. And people, I didn't see people are hating each other on the street. I didn't see people are fighting each other. But if we read the newspaper, people are fighting each other. Always. So which one is truthful? You are talking about truth. What is truth? The truth, in my eyes, in the sunlight, people are living peacefully, with love, care each other. But in the media, people are hating each other, are fighting each other, and so people are living in this mediated society. If you believe in the mediated society, people would hate each other, would fight each other. Then our world, our reality, our real world would really become a battlefield. If our media, give more attention to good stories instead of bad stories, probably our real world would have less violence and less war.
So media still does have a powerful influence in shaping people's both public and even private attitudes about war, living together. Now, your recent book, for the Chinese journalists, a manual for human rights reporting, is pretty interesting because it actually covers a lot. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
I believe this is the first book in the world actually. It's a handbook telling journalists how to cover human rights issue. It's very much comprehensive, and it has first it has chapter of a comparative study, a comparison between the relevant international law about human rights and the relevant Chinese law about human rights, and then according to the definition of human rights and the Chinese law of definition of human rights, we divide it into many chapters, and like we have chapter of women right, chapter of ethnic minority right, chapter of farmers right, migrant labor right, worker right, children right, handicapped people right, senior citizen or elderly people right. In each chapter we tell the journalist how the international law say about this, how the Chinese law define the right give you, and how how China practice it, and from the perspective in the eyes of the American of Western journalists and in the eyes of Chinese journalists. With each chapter we have a Western news story covering this right, and a Chinese journal covering this right. And so what is the shortcoming on what China need to improve in this respect. And also we give resources for journalists to do further research, and in their reporting give them some clue for in their future.
The preceding copyrighted program is a property of the University of California, Los Angeles. All rights reserved. It may be used freely for educational and not-for-profit activities. For other uses or to make an inquiry, please contact the Asian American Studies Center at UCLA.